I'm going to do some comment responses to the last couple of videos, but before I do that, you've maybe heard me saying about reptiles, and it's always fascinated me with how reptiles are born independent, and they already know what they have to do and what to avoid. I think there's some interesting questions in there, but you know to go to the gutter for a wee minute, I've always wondered about how dinosaurs mated, especially like a T-Rex. I searched and there's very little on it, but lo and behold, I found a video. Have you ever seen anything so fucking ridiculous in your life? Okay, there's so many contradicting images of this, cartoon drawings. Um, but this next one, oh for fuck's sake, I think the T-Rex invented Kama Sutra, and I think the T-Rex invented porn. Maybe that's what turned him on, as this next example will prove. So, you can call me dirty-minded all you like, but I'm a curious mind, and I ask myself these questions. And how did T-Rex reproduce was one of my questions. Even the T-Rex in the pictures laughing at you. So anyway, I'm going to do comment response here. These other videos that I put out, I'm only putting them out to stimulate thought, to maybe break people from religious views, and you understand that a lot of these religious ideas come down to kind of two categories, and that there is a lot of minds who've pondered on these things. Now, I put it out there, it's just purely my journey. These people are just philosophers as well. It's just that they're mind exercises. They're no claims to truth or claims to know, what consciousness is and what the whole objective truth is. Um, you know, People who know me know that I'm at a position where, I don't have a belief. My mind's ready, and I'm questioning, where we really are. No time for guessing anymore. So, um, I just put these up here as kind of to pass the time, and to, hopefully have a wee bit of positive input in order to stimulate, people's thought. So that's basically why I'm doing this, until the numbers are up. For me, it's just let's, get the numbers up, and get the full exploration. That's my aim. That's my goal. People can say it's far fetched, but logically, that's the only realistic place. That's the real truth for me. The position I'm in, just as an individual, is that I need, numbers awake, and people wanting the truth, wanting to know the real truth, and not accepting any of the lies. So part of my journey is maybe trying to show people how we're manipulated, um, and how our thoughts, and everything that's happening to us, and everything we feel is down to us. It's our responsibility. And the sooner people grasp that, for me, the better. Because, just going round in circles trying to impose each other's subjective wishes or ideals on each other is going to cause problems. That's why we're in this shit. People need to get to that point where they admit that they know nothing, right? And not be scared of that, in order for us to progress forward, because that's the truth of the matter. We're born into this captivity, okay? And you're fed stories your whole life, history, whatever it is, stuff that you have no way of verifying. And as I said it before, all that stuff's a mind virus. What keeps you healthy is experiencing each thing for yourself, okay? For me, that's a deliberate tactic, is to throw stories and all this misinformation at people, disinformation, in order to keep people, going around in circles. And it's done, through fear. And for me, it's about, disconnecting you from where you are. We'll achieve that, because as soon as you can do that, you can put people in fear. Especially things like death and the fear of death and the whole surrounding way that our culture and society treats death, that makes you fear it, that life's so precious and you need to cling to it. Oh, and it's a big scary thing. So we have all these crazy behaviours. And that's another subject, I want to talk about, that's maybe going to be a wee bit, don't know if taboo is the right word, but, I have these thoughts all the time. This idea that's pushed to us that life's precious and that you need, we're here and we need to keep breeding and keep the species going in order to survive. And I stop and I think about that and I go, what for? What is it that we would be trying to achieve? What is this? We just need to survive. Is that another trick? To put you in a disempowering state, or is it a trick in a spiritual sense of keeping you attached to this reality and placing value in it, so that if you have a soul, you might be brought back here. That's just another theory, but I question the logic and actually look at the bigger picture and go, animals and us, we reproduce, and we have this, they call it a natural instinct to reproduce. Now, if you're talking about a separation between the mind and the body, I can look at that and say, well, this body seems to have this program that is set to do these certain tasks. And you can confuse yourself with thinking that it's your own free will just because it feels good. But when you actually stop and you think about it, what is actually happening there? So I ask myself questions: is the body, does it have this program to keep this realm, this reality, or this illusion going? Because at the end of the day, if you were on a globe, or whether we're in a contained unit, if it was a contained unit and we're stuck here, then you go, well, what is this survival about? What's the purpose of this? Let's survive. To go where? To achieve what? Anyway, I'm not going to digress. That's just some thoughts. So, and another quick point, and I've got witnesses for this now, and people might find it hard to believe, but, I don't get notifications or comments. Sometimes I get the notification, but then if a conversation continues, I'm not getting the notification. And if I go away from a video and come back and I look, there's comments missing, and then I'll come back and they'll reappear. It sounds bizarre, but that's really what's going on. So I'll lose track of conversations and stuff. So, I appreciate people watching and people giving input. As I've said before, sometimes it's too much to sit there and respond in a comment, and you don't get everything across properly in comments. So I prefer just to respond like this. So let's see. Hopefully everything shows up here. Last two vids. So, welcome to the machine. We'll go for that and see what's happening there. Now I'll just leave it the comments that I've responded to. My tea bag out. So, welcome to the machine. I like that Fred Onions comment. If life is a ride, Dale, I must have got on the fucking ghost train. Yeah, I feel the same way myself. This shit's just not what I expected it to be. VC, always enjoy your discussions, especially first thing in the morning with a coffee. Thanks for being you. Thank you, I appreciate that very much. That's a good thing about us, you know. I spoke about that before as a kid. You know, it felt good to be appreciated, not in an ego sense that you were better, but just, you know, that reciprocity of people appreciating each other's efforts and endeavours. It makes you feel good, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, I don't want it so that I can hold power over you, so it's not a bad thing. It fuels us, which is good. Eddie Con, our eyes are special. How can we see? I'm not really sure what that's, you know, directed at, to be honest with you. I'll leave that for now. Manufactured lack, hello, hello. Jade Rosdov, brilliant, thank you. Bruce Rhodes, love you, brother Scottish. Thank you very much. Netty Voyager, we live in a machine. We make the parts to the machine. We plug into the matrix. We depend on it for the wrong reasons. Your ideas are sound. Your logic and reason is correct. Now you just need the history if you wish to move your thought into a different direction. You will learn much. I think this whole matrix thing, whether we are plugged into some electronic or futuristic technology, well, not futuristic, but some technology that we don't understand, and we have a real body or a real essence somewhere else, is another story altogether. But you know, the matrix for me is in the mind, you know, and it's how we get caught up in these mind viruses that are put to us, you know, because at the end of the day, we write the story, you know, we tell ourselves everything, you know, we make the rules in here, you know, and we limit ourselves by everything we're telling ourselves. So, you know, for me, that's what the Matrix is, and the war, whatever's going on here, is the war for your attention. Wherever they can keep the mind and what they've got your attention on, that's it. Because as I say before, nobody physically controls you. And you know, this bit at the end, if you wish to move your thought into a different direction, you will learn much. So we're talking about history. I don't really get that. You know, I see a lot of this guru type mentality with, you know, these liners that are just put out there that I don't really have any connection to. No, I just need to learn that, need the history. If you wish to move your thought into a different direction, you will learn much. See, there's nothing in that for me. That's just somebody who's been mystical. And it's no disrespect, that's just the way the comment is. I can't really connect with it. I don't understand what it is you're saying. If you can elaborate. Where are we here? Some of these I've responded to. Okay, so on to the next video, which was reaching out to James Randi. And again, you know, when I share these things, I put them up there as an avenue of thought. I don't put them up there because I agree with these people or I'm a fan or I idolise them. You know, this is just my journey. You know, the James Randi thing was a bit of tongue in cheek. It's a dig because James Randi claims he's a skeptic, you know, and he uses these tactics. So, you know, I was trying to be a bit sarcastic and funny. I was saying to James Randi, we'll set these conditions up for these claims that are made about the globe. It's not because I'm a Randi fan. You know, people take everything so, I don't know, literal is the word, but you know, especially when I talked about the Satanism thing, you know, that was just part of my journey and a realisation that, hey, this isn't what people are telling me. But when you talk about it, people automatically associate you with it and put you in a category of one of them or whatever is going on in their imagination. You know, I think this is one of the things that people need to let go of. So again, I'll just go through some of them. Some of them I've responded to, but Taboo conspiracy. So many hold James Randi as a true skeptic, but then abandon skepticism when science makes ridiculous claims. Exactly, taboo conspiracy. And that was the point I was making with the video. These people want to have these rules, and when you make a claim about reality, you must be able to show it. Blah blah blah. This was their language, and I spoke about this at the start because I learned it. Learn their language and use it against them. Use the tools that they're using. All right, because when we're standing in truth and using real natural science, they will be showing up. And that's that at the end of the day. And it's very, very simple. That's the mentality people need. No elaborate stories and you're not clever enough. Any claim that's made about reality, identify the specific claims and then demand the practical example. You don't just let people wander away into imagination land. What do we have here? Jack Parsons. So what do we have? This is a big, long, fucking winded thing, so I'll get through it as quick as I can. I can imagine what it's going to be though here. You seem nice and I get the sentiment, but you need to address some very simple common sense issues first. Right, straight away, Jack Parsons, you seem nice as if I'm fucking daft. No. I get the sentiment, but you need to address some very simple common sense issues first. No. I don't need to address anything. You and people like you need to address reality. The points I made to James Randi are valid. That's the claims that are being made. You need tarting it up and twisting it and moving the goalposts, right? The globe is the claim, right? And it's a sphere with vast bodies of water fucking stuck to it, right? Living in a vacuum, existing in a vacuum, next to our pressurised system. So that's what I'm saying about the specifics of claims. You can't just tart it all together. Let's look at each individual claim. Okay, if it's a globe, it has to have water. So can water do that? No, right? So don't tell me I need to look at some common sense issues first. If people like you can't even go over simple observable facts of reality like the behaviour of water, then you're fucking lost, right? The problem with people like you have is because you're so invested in the fucking images that you're finding it hard to let it go, right? Reality doesn't care about your fucking images and your CGI. In 2012, there were 6.2 million scientists and engineers in the US alone, all with the sole job of testing and retesting every single facet of their chosen profession. And you're saying none of them have worked out something so simple that unemployed conspiracy theorists who drinks piss can work it out in their spare time using YouTube and page 1 of Google. Does that sound reasonably statistically, let alone logical? Okay, for putting logical in at the end of that fucking paragraph is an absolute joke. And let's get through it bit by bit. Okay, 6.2 million scientists and engineers in the US alone with the sole job of retesting every single facet of their chosen profession. Okay, that's a logical fallacy right away. He's appealing to numbers. Okay, now, how many, religious people is there in the world? Or how many people have been involved in a lie but actually knew that they were taking part in the lie or consciously knew? Okay? Millions, billions of people, right? It's a total fallacy, and compartmentalisation is a very real thing in life. Some people just don't have a level of questioning. They just, perform the tasks that are set to them when they're given their gold badge and told well done, and that's as far as they go until things are pointed out to them. Like friends of mine, that I've experienced, they think they know stuff until it's pointed out to them, and then they question it, and then they realise that they've been sold a lie. So, straight away, logical fallacy of appealing to numbers. And you don't know these 6.2 million scientists and engineers. You've not spoke to them personally. So don't quote 6.2 million with your fanciful numbers. Right. And at the same time, people can make components of things that that's just their job. They have no idea what the whole thing is that they're putting together. Their focus is just on one specific part, right? So here we go. Worked out so simple that an unemployed conspiracy theorist who drinks piss, okay? Here we go again, making statements to know who I am that are totally wrong. And drinking piss, here's an attachment. This is the power. you know, because somebody slanders somebody else for pursuing a certain line of thought, you know, and then, you know, because they pursue that line of thought, they're attached in every other aspect, flat earth, drinking piss, blah, blah. So anybody else who's questioning the globe lie, you know, these people are trying to label you as piss drinking. They're just, it's a waste of fucking breath. That the mentality of these types of people is so low, it's incredible. Piss, who can work it out in their spare time using YouTube and a page of Google? Okay, no, I'm actually use reality and observe the reality I'm living in. But I hear this a lot about YouTube videos. You know, I can give a guitar lesson on YouTube. You know, I can sit and I can play a lesson, show somebody how to play a tune. They can watch that and they can learn it. So by this line of reasoning, because it's on YouTube, they shouldn't take what I'm showing them. It must be false or fake. Idiot. Drilling that down further, Flat Earth requires that all 17,000 of NASA employees are helpless to break the conditioning that a flat earther can do as well. No, look, you know, here we go again. Compartmentalisation, appealing to numbers again. You know, this guy's an absolute twat. Right, I'm not even going to bother wasting my time. It's just a repetition of the same idiocy. Right, so I'm not even going to bother with that. You know, these people who think they're truthers and think they're intellects, you know, don't understand the human condition and manipulation and how brainwashing works for them to sit and say these things. But they will invoke it when it suits them. You know, but when it's something that threatens their bias, you know, they'll try and rebel against it. So wait, I'm not even going to waste my fucking time. And there's plenty of people responding there. Okay, so Unsilent Majority TV. Definitely need him to come after the claim of the spinning ball hurtling through space. Lol. But it is likely off limits, just like how Alex Jones won't mention it unless it is to ridicule it. Yeah. Well, this is it. You know, some people are invested in whatever it is they've invested in, and you know, they'll avoid things for their own selfish reasons or through fear, whatever it might be. But I totally agree. You know, these so-called skeptics need to start really looking at it. Right, there's some there with something, mate. Lovestone 1963. I'd like to see Tyson, Cox and Nye wearing a NASA spacesuit in a vacuum chamber here on Earth. Simple enough, right? I would like to see that too. They've made enough people's blood boil. It's about time their blood boiled. Anita Holman, nice one, love it. Thank you, Anita. No nukes. It's been a while since I've seen this one. Rodney had a half decent scam going before Uncle Albert fucked everything up. Well, that's it. You know, it's funny. And as I say, that's why I done the video, because James Randi wants to set these conditions up. You know, people make simple claims, you should be able to prove it. So Wisdom Keeper 11. Notice that magician James Randi and his pals on the Committee for the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal are always very careful not to bring this report to the public's attention. I have claimed the £1 million offer by James Randi, sending him proof that Professor John Hasted of the Physics Department at London University had proved that so-called psychic phenomena exist. This is when we find out that these public offers of money are a hoax. What Randi does not tell us on TV is that we first of all have to satisfy his own 12 conditions. He does not recognise the findings of qualified independent scientists. His conditions are so outrageous that he will never have to part with the money. Okay, so I'm gathering that there's some sort of, and again, you know, I need to reiterate this. My point about putting James Randi up there wasn't that, you know, I think he's a great man for debunking. I think, you know, when he pointed out charlatans, it was great work. But You know, if he's open to corruption or whatever, or if there is, this is something I don't know anything about this. John Hasted, of the physics department at London University, is something that I'm going to go and try and read up about. So I appreciate you putting that up. But it reminds me of Rupert Sheldrake. I'm sure he done experiments on dogs becoming aware of their owners coming home, and a few other things, and I'm not sure, but I think who's the other British guys? Rupert Sheldrake and oh, his name's gone. Oh, I'll remember it in a minute. But they done work on it, I'm sure, and I'm sure other people have. But you know, I don't. That's why I made the very next video, because I'm no rubbish in these things. That's not why I put the James Randi thing up there. Um, you know, there's all sorts of aspects, and as I said before, mind for me is immaterial. There's an immaterial aspect to existence, so I would never rubbish that. So you know, sometimes, as I say, people when you put these things up there, people think you're attacking a certain stance. When that's not what I'm doing. You know, I just put things up there for my reasons, and I've explained the reasons. So I appreciate that, Wisdom Keeper 11, and I'll be checking that out. Thanks for that. Embrace the ball. Flat earthers are the charlatans. They set up experiments based on math without figuring out the proper math. They hold things they do not understand up as proof of a flat earth, but they will not perform and supply data from simple tests such as these with a link. Right, hang on a wee minute here. They set up experiments based on math. Like, see, for a fucking start, right? Math is a formal science, right? It does not depend on empirical observation. It's a language that was derived in order to explain the observable world, right? The observable world is what counts before any fucking language, right? So when I say water doesn't conform to the exterior of a fucking shape and that it has to be contained, that is reality, right? Your fucking language doesn't change that, right? Just the same as I can tell you the truth using the language I'm using now, I can also tell you a lie. That's what your maths can do, okay? So I don't know what you're meaning here. They are the ones making excuses. I'm not making excuses. I've been waiting for over a year and a half for somebody to come forward and prove their claims. I'm here, not making excuses. They will claim that the Cavendish experiment has never been replicated without research. Have you done it? Can you replicate it? A smaller object is attracted to a larger mass. Show me it. I've never attempted it themselves. I've attempted it loads. I'm bigger than my kids. They don't fucking gravitate towards me. What are you talking about? Oh, but Earth's getting in the road. Excuses. Why will flat earthers never perform true controlled experiments? I have. I've tested water until I'm blue in the face. Right? Just to make sure. Right? It definitely needs to be contained. It definitely does not conform to the exterior of shapes. If you found otherwise, show us. Could it be because they are afraid of the results? No. I'm facing reality. People like you, Embrace the Ball, are scared of the results. Reality deniers. You know, obsessively trying to deny natural physics. Get a grip of yourself. It's over. Your globe is fucking dead. It's idiotic, childish, fucking nonsense. Right? Now, the joke's over, and people who are still deliberately standing in the road, it's went beyond a joke now. Right? When the game's realised, you step aside. If you don't step aside, you'll be removed. Eddie Con, do you like Kilkenny beer? No, I've already responded to that. I'm not a drinker, but if it was freezing cold, I would try it. Right, so where are we on here? Some of these are like big conversations. What video am I on here? Reaching out to James Randi, right. I want to get through this so I can get the next one. Embrace the Ball. Yeah, I'll read the first part and we're going to get into the conversation that's ensued underneath. Rick G. That last part with the astronaut and the green globe is from sonic levitation. They always look like they have high blood pressure due to the sonic waves affecting liquids. They have had this technology since the Egyptians. You will also notice they wear loose watches due to clotting issues when the sonic harmonics are turned on. Any tight wristband would bunch up the blood and cause capillary damage. This is just one theory, as magnetic levitation can be used in humans, just not liquids or water is not magnetic. Just not liquids or water is not magnetic. I'm not sure about that, but possibly a combination of both. Well, to be honest with you, that's not a subject I know a lot about. You know, I've seen some of these things in Phuket Word had put one out about the levitating frog. And I had also seen it with quantum locking, they were calling it. I seen it a couple of years ago with going round, you know, the thing going round the track. It's not my one of my big subjects, so it would be something I would need to look into. But you know, I appreciate that comment. Okay, so on to yesterday's video. Oh, and I'm at 666 subscribers. Hey, I hope somebody's taking a picture of that. The fucking baby-eating, goat-killing, satanic fucking Scottish guy is at 666. Please keep it there. Don't add anybody else. Nobody else subscribe and nobody leave. Keep me frozen at 666. So, we're on to yesterday's vid. And this was, again, you know, I put this one up, you know, just it was really to make the point about what do we say is natural and what's supernatural, you know, and metaphysics and stuff. And again, it was only to, you know, show that people have entertained a lot of these avenues of thought. Nobody knows, nobody has the answers. You know, it was just mind exercising. As I say, I'm passing the time just now, you know, for the situation that I'm in, awaiting, you know, the numbers to come up. So, Nathan Oakley have responded there. There's a bit of conversation happening. John Smith. Right, this was one of the comments I had seen that I wanted to do a response to. So, let's see. The speakers are all very interesting, however, I feel that they all overcomplicate the understanding of consciousness and that they all focus too much on thought in the understanding of consciousness. Yeah, see, John, I agree with this, right? And for me, it's part of the mechanisms for keeping us under control, because just like there's this obsession of let's study the matter, let's look at the matter and go right in and look at the matter. For me, it's a waste of fucking time, you know, because for me, I'm very well aware that exploring the matter will probably tell me a lot more than, you know, just looking at the matter. And again, for this, you know, I think you're right, you know, getting too caught up in the analysing it rather than just exploring consciousness itself, you know, along with the exploration of the matter, which, you know, will help to expand the consciousness. Because again, you know, for me, there's a bigger understanding out there. So I totally agree with that. And you know, and the reason that I put that video up was only for mental exercise and to show, you know, different avenues of thought. You know, and I thought I had stated that clearly. It's no that, you know, I agree with any of these people or I'm on board with them. So I feel that getting close to and understanding our consciousness is more simplistic and effortless. Yeah, as I just say, you know, my consciousness, you know, for me, you know, I was just an explorer. you know, you see it in kids, there's that natural kind of instinct of, you know, each moment in time, you know, they don't have any attachments, it's just, you know, I'll play with that until it's broke and then I'll move on, you know, and that's it. And by playing and breaking, you know, their consciousness is expanding, you know, as long as they are physically exploring and exploring the matter, you know, no focusing in on the matter, exploring it. So I tend to lean more to the Eastern philosophers and their understanding of consciousness rather than the contemporary thought and scientific study of mind and consciousness. I think they're all the kind of same thing, to be honest with you. I think that, you know, again, nobody has any, you know, proof of these things. They are just, you know, the workings of mind. You know, people trying to figure out what's going on. You know, I don't lean towards any of them. I would rather just keep my mind open in the hope that I can discover where I am, that maybe take me closer to, you know, who we are. Although I acknowledge that they both have a lot to offer on the subject, yet I'm the same, and I'll look at, you know, every aspect. It's just that, you know, that these ones that I put up just seem to categorise it simpler for me. You know, we talk about Buddhism and, you know, or Hinduism and their philosophies of mind and body and blah blah, and it comes down to, you know, two categories for me. So I just use these guys because it's a bit simpler. I don't need to wander off into the meanderings of each philosophical pursuit. You know, I just know the you know, the basics, which is, you know, materialism is either true or idealism in some sense will be true. And I think everything kind of branches from that. You know, it's either matter's the primary force or mind's the primary force. You know, and each one of these philosophies just are stories that derive from that. So, but I think all these philosophies and religions, you know, came from a place of disconnection, of confusion, of fear, of no knowing. You know, so can a mind so conditioned know what consciousness is? I think comfort is one thing and consciousness is another. They lead away from each other, yeah, because comfort is when you're in a state of fear and you don't know, but you adopt beliefs. And I've stated it before, beliefs are mind viruses. You know, nothing will ever be a substitute for experiencing and actually knowing. So, you know, and people, because we're in a state of fear, uncertainty, not knowing what life is, a fear of death, you know, all these things, it's all fear based. People will just grab at things that make them feel good. For me, dualism leads to an inner conflict and separation, whereas consciousness to me is as one. If we are totally consciousness, then we are functioning in full attention, not partial attention. In such a state, there is usually no friction or enough conflict going on. I think friction and conflict manifests in life when we try to divide or fragment our consciousness. Yeah, you know, as I say, you know, it's happening because, you know, people are in a state of uncertainty and people want certainty. It seems to be in us to want that certainty as if it should have been there. So, as I say, you know, these philosophies will cause fragmentation, especially when people are emotionally invested in them. Because if you're emotionally invested in a belief and it's a false belief, you know, that's going to cause you problems. Our lives and physical world is full of fragments, but for me, a mind that is fragmented cannot be aware of our full consciousness, where each layer of the mind has been exposed one by one. Well, that was my life for me. You know, and your cultural programming and the programming that you've been involved in causes that fragmentation. And you have to work through each layer and realise each layer of falsity that you've invested in. And once you do that, you get to that point of, right, I'm in a clear conscious state. I know that I don't know where I am. I know that I don't know anything about any of these things. I only know for sure that I'm conscious. I only know for sure that I can control my thoughts and my actions. So, in the clip, John Searle said, that if it consciously feels like you are conscious, then you are conscious. Well, I'm not so sure about that, and we have always been wary of someone, and I have always been wary of someone telling me what consciousness is. Yeah, and you've got every right to be, but I have to kind of correct that. John Searle, it's a philosophy. This is what I'm saying about people when, sometimes that tells me that you maybe have a bias, or something that you're invested in, because when somebody else is speaking a philosophy, you feel as if you need to defend, or you feel as if they're telling you what it is. The guy is a philosopher, he's philosophising. That's just where he is in his journey. He's not telling you or making a claim to know. None of these people will make a claim to know what consciousness is, I can guarantee you that, because, there's many people will strip them apart. And you're right, be wary of anybody telling you what something is without you having verifiable proof of it. I think consciousness can be encouraged for oneself by asking questions rather than being told how it is. Absolutely spot on, John Smith. That's me, that's Socratic method. Ask questions, question everything, right? Don't just accept something, because as I say, if you accept something, you emotionally and mentally invest in it, and it's a falsity, it's going to cause you problems. To believe some expert tell me what consciousness is, I would expect them to be conscious. Okay, yeah. So to be fully conscious, this is still John Smith. I would expect a highly conscious mind to uncover the whole content of the unconscious. If I thought the expert was not being fully conscious in what they were saying, then why would I believe them? Of course. And who is conscious? I keep saying that. You can't believe any of these people, because unless they can prove to you beyond a doubt that they have the full objective truth, they know where they are, they know how life came to be, they know what it's about. It's just all the creations of man's mind, and man trying to reason, from a place of ignorance, from a place of bewilderment and confusion. And this unconscious thing, the subconscious, the unconscious, I think that's a split when we go into falsities. I think you have it in full as a kid. I'm not going to digress into that just now. I'll save that for a later video. For can a mind so conditioned be conscious? Well, it has to be aware, obviously, that it has been conditioned, and that was part of my journey, and many of you who are watching this, that's been your journey. Breaking the conditioning, and bringing yourself to a conscious place, and that conscious place is realising that it's all a lie, and these things that you invest and take on board that you have no way of verifying for yourself are viruses, and you know if you're conscious to avoid them. So, could you please describe your out-of-body experience? I have no idea or concept of what you mean by this and how it was for you. Cool. I mean, I'll openly talk about this stuff, but same as everything else, I have to declare that these things that happened to me were subjective experiences. I don't make claims to know what they are. I can only describe my experience. And some people tell me it was an illusion, it was this, it was that. People can make claims whatever they like. I'm not making a claim, I can only explain my experience. So, out of body experience, or what they call out of body, well, it's simple, John. When I was a kid, my physical body, they say sleep paralysis, right? But yet my physical body would be up and it would be walking about, to the point where I would be opening the front door, out the close, up the stairs, and walking along the street. When these incidents were happening, I was always kind of tethered, as if I was watching and following my body. But I didn't have a form, I just had this kind of knowing. I wasn't questioning what was going on. It just felt normal. So that as a kid, it was quite simplistic like that. It was happening quite often. No, I didn't do any experiments when I was a kid to verify whether the book on top of my wardrobe, I could see what I see when I'm awake. I never done any of that stuff. They were just the experiences I was experiencing. I had I don't know if it's first, second, third person perspectives on my own experiences that were happening. One experience that I can give in particular, just as an example, would be, I'm lying in my bed, um, but then, I get up from my bed and I'll go to the toilet and I'm standing and I'm having a pee over the toilet. And in a flash, I'm back lying in my bed again, but I'm becoming aware that, no, hang on, I'm in having a piss. So then I flick back to it, I'm standing having a piss, but then I'm becoming aware, no, I'm lying in my bed. And then, getting into these spirals and becoming aware of the two fragments of me. And then, me in the bed starting to panic and getting up and running through to see in the bathroom and banging in the bathroom door. And as I'm standing having a piss, because I'm physically standing having a piss, as I'm banging the bathroom door, I become aware of it and I wake up and I'm actually standing there having a piss. So, it sounds bizarre to people, but that's some of the experiences that I've had. And some of the sleep paralysis stuff, there's some stuff online. And when I had access to the internet, I actually found kind of similar imagery that other people had experienced. You hear people talking about the old hag and stuff like that. I never had that. I had, some sort of, as if it was a presence that would appear above the window frame and mumble. I could never make sense of it, whatever it was that was going on. It was just like mumble looking down at me as I lay in my bed. But, kind of freaky stuff when you're a kid. And obviously having the restricted canny move and that feeling of sheer terror. But these things spiraled and waved, and I went into like lucid dreaming, and and I learned through the processes that a lot of the fears and things that were happening was when I was in fear or I was trying to control physically. And when I relaxed and let go and realised I could just think my way into certain situations or whatever experiences a life or whatever I was dreaming, when I stopped trying to physically move, like if I was trying to fly, I would be at first it would be like pulling my self through the air or through some thick medium until eventually I would relax into it and then it became effortless. So I don't mind talking about these things. As I say, they're subjective things that people just call delusions, illusions. We have no way of proving them or verifying them. I can only talk about them, and that's why I reluctantly talk about them, because people think when you're talking about them, you're making claims. When I'm not making a claim, it's just an experience. So, if you don't want to discuss this in an open forum, I will respect that, especially if you don't want me to give you more questions the deeper you go into it. No, I mean, John, I love, conversation, so please ask questions, by all means. And if you want to have a Skype thing, one-to-one, and talk about it, then, I'm more than willing for that. I can't get my head around it or say out of it. I am slightly sceptical, however, I am keen to have someone relate their experience of having an out-of-body experiences. Cool. There's nothing to be sceptical because I'm not going to make claims yet. It's an experience that people call out of body. Now, I'm not saying that means that my soul was leaving my body or whatever. I don't know. I asked someone else in your post who claimed to have an out of body experience to tell me more about it, but I have not heard anything yet. I can't answer for that. But I appreciate that comment, John. Cheers. And I'm seeing two John Smiths recently. I'm not sure who's who. I've kind of lost track. Barbie McGill, well, I of course found this very interesting and have thought of these things more than I will admit. I found the last bit even more interesting and liked the Schrodinger drop. If I were to accept that atoms have some kind of choice, then I have to wonder deeper and ask myself, with different types of people, are these choices processed differently by design? And is this why there are different types of people, waves in the ether? Well, Barbie, I'm actually maybe going to do a wee video on this, because I've touched on it before with the reptiles, and how, reptiles are born and they're independent. They appear to be emotionless, almost like automatons, So I'm not going to go too much into that because I'm actually thinking about doing a video on it. Um, Marco Lower, everything is natural. What we call unnatural is just unnatural under whatever circumstances may apply. Peace, dude. Yeah, I, Marco, I totally agree. You know, that's why I said it. Where do we get this gauge of natural and unnatural or supernatural? You know, I mean, because comes down to experience. So, Gasper Limited, by the way, you got 666 subscribers today. Cheers, Gasper Limited. And listen, man, I just realised that you had sent me an email thing, and I apologise that I've not responded. I've said it before. Sometimes it gets overwhelming for me when there's so many inbox messages and emails, and I've got other things going on in my life. It's not that I can't be bothered dealing with anybody. It's just that the typing thing, you know, it's kind of hard for me. If people want to hook up, add me in Skype or you know the Google Hangouts thing, and I'll have a conversation. I much prefer that. As you get so much more out of that than text, because text doesn't have any kind of you know emotional or any you know human input to it. So, and Gasper's responded here again. This exploring quality on us is actually search for our origins, since this reality is not our reality and is in fact the highest form of suffering for the eternal entity. Well, Gasper, I kind of totally agree with that, man. That's where my line, you know, reasoning takes me. Um, you know, that exploring quality tells me something. You know, there's something there for me to find. And I think the mind matrix and the manipulation to keep us still is very apparent. Um, Imagine how unnatural it would be for us to live underwater with no air to breathe, and how we would suffocate and die. And now imagine that you are born again in the same water and you die again for lack of air. And now this goes on indefinitely. This kind of reality we're experiencing all the time, and try to find the reason for our existence in the water. There is no reason for existence in unnatural environment, and the only goal is to get out of it. In other words, we are not here to learn. Thank you. Thank you for that, because that's exactly where I'm at. There is fucking nothing here to learn. You know, you learn from your culture that's a construct of man, right? There is no fucking lesson here. There's no rhyme or reason for it. You know, when you look at the thing as a whole, and I spoke about it earlier, this survival and, oh, it's a beautiful place, nature is so beautiful. Fuck off. You know, worship that all you like, but you deserve everything you fucking get. If you accept this place and you're content with it, then fuck off and stop moaning. You know, you're part of it. But for me, you know, I don't accept it. And I've got deeper questions and I want out of the fucking thing. So, Casper Limited, I appreciate that comment. It's fucking spot on. Um, and you know, and I'm just going to leave it there. I don't want this going on too long. As I say, this is just to you know appreciate people's comments again, and to due respect and respond. Because sometimes I lose the track of them and I get overwhelmed. So, peace.